Recording. Hello, I'm Jordan Kester doing my last 5 intubations today. I got my boss here, AJ. This is our mannequin. He has kind of a anterior airway and a really big old tongue in him, so we're going to work with it. Here we go. So our first scenario.
Be a cardiac arrest of a 28-year-old that's having CPR done currently.
Okay. BSI, seen safe, got my gloves on and all. We're currently going to CPR, so I have someone focusing on compressions. I got my team lead kind of overseeing everything and running the monitor. Someone's been pre-oxygenating him with BVM. Been pre-oxygenating with BVM and with O2 going on the nasal cannula. If we're considering intubating during CPR, then either we've been working them through CPR for a little bit, or we're having trouble ventilating and we're thinking there's some issues with the airway. But for whatever reason, we've decided he now needs to be intubated. So we've been ventilating him at a rate of about 5 to 6 breaths a minute. Maybe I'm not getting very good compliance with the bag, but we decided we need to intubate him. So we're going to continue compressions. We're not stopping there. I got everything all set up. I got my eye gel ready to go just in case. I'm going to go in with a MAC 4 at first here. With this mannequin, I'm using a 7 tube, ET tube, and I'm using a rigid stylet. My tube looks good. I have my suction ready to go. And I'll have my partner, okay, get out of the way with the BVM. We're going to intubate now. Go in, I don't see any secretions in there, so I don't need to suction at this point. I'm using my MAC 4, so I'm going for the vallecula. And I get good visuals of the cords. I would have my partner pull the stylet while I maintain visualization. That's coming out. They're inflating the cuff. And then we're going to begin bagging this patient with the end tidal in place. I'm going to be keeping my hand on that tube, making sure it doesn't go anywhere. While we're bagging, we're going to look for moisture in the tube. We're going to watch our reading on the end tidal. We're going to verify lung sounds and absence of abdominal sounds. Everything looks good. I'm going to use a tube tamer to secure this tube in place. And we're going to continue to run this cardiac arrest on scene until hopefully we get ROSC. Then we would transport. What is our second scenario?
Your second patient is going to be a 72-year-old male who is actively seizing due to head trauma and he's unable to protect his own airway.
All right. Reset here. Okay, we have 27-year-old male actively seizing due to some head trauma, and he is unable to maintain his own airway. So we've gotten on scene seems safe, BSI, got my gloves on. After making initial patient contact and assessing the condition of the patient, I'm really worried about ABCs. We want to get vitals monitored, work on getting IV established right away. we get on scene and he's actively seizing. I'm probably going to be going right after a 10 milligram dose of Versed IM right away. I'm going to gather as much patient history as I can from any bystanders available, depending on what kind of scene we're in. And as soon as that Versed's in, and I have determined that this patient cannot maintain their own airway, I'm going to decide to RSI this patient. So, for RSIing, I'm going to get all my stuff set up. We're going to pre-oxygenate like normally. We want to get going with the BVM with the nasal cannula underneath. We are concerned of head trauma, so we want to maintain spinal precautions here. So I'm going to have one of my partners dedicated to making sure that head is staying as still as we can. But we're going to use a jaw thrust maneuver and be ventilating for him in the meantime. We're going to be bagging him at a rate of 6 breaths per minute, getting that O2 sat up as close to 100% as we can. After a few minutes of pre-oxygenation, we're going to start our RSI procedure here. Hopefully by now we have an IV in place. I think doing RSI right now, we already have 10 milligrams of Versed on board, so I think instead of ketamine, I'm going to go with a Versed route. So with the Versed that he already has on board, we're going to go with the 10 milligrams of Versed, and then we're going to do 1 milligram per kilogram of rocuronium. Let's say he's a 70 kilogram male, so we're going to go 70 milligrams of rock IV. Push that, give him some time to make sure that he's fully under, make sure he doesn't have any muscle tone to his eyes or to his jaw at all left, and give him just another minute after he loses everything to let that rock really set in. Once we are ready, I'm going in with my intubation. I'm going to again use my Mac 4 for this mannequin. And I'd have my partner move out of the way, and we're going in for an intubation. Got my suction ready, my backup airway ready. And the scissoring technique to get that tongue out of the way. And I'm going to work my way down to the vallecula until it pops the epiglottis out of the way. I have visualization of the vocal cords. Okay, would have my partner pull the stylet while I'm maintaining visualization. We're gonna pump that up. I'm gonna keep my hand on that tube, making sure it doesn't go anywhere while we get the bag on there and start breathing. We're gonna give a few breaths. We're gonna be watching for moisture in the tube, watching our reading on the end tidal, and verifying lung sounds and absence of lung sounds in the abdomen. Listen, listen, listen. We're all good. We're going to strap this down with a tube tamer. By now, the patient, with the combination of the Versed and the rock on board, he's not going to be actively seizing anymore, and this way I can maintain his airway all the way to the hospital. We're going to keep a close eye on the end tidal and continuously monitor this patient's vitals every 3 to 5 minutes and transport to the hospital. Okay. For these following scenarios, we're just going to kind of focus on the intubations themselves. I'm going to practice some different techniques and equipment that we have available to us here at Essentia. What's next?
Video channeled.
Video. So I'm going to use we use a King Vision here, and this that I'm using today is a channeled channeled tube for the King Vision. We do not use a stylet with this. And our tube runs in right along it there. We turn it on. Procedure for getting ready with this is all the same as is with the direct laryngoscope. We want to back up in place. We want suction ready to go. We practice leading with suction with our King Vision here at Essentia, so I'll try that today. We would have pre-oxygenated like normal. If this is a patient we're RSIing, drugs would be on board and the patient would be thoroughly sedated. Once we decide we are ready to intubate, we're going to get the BVM out of the way. Use our same kind of technique for getting the tongue out of the way and jaw open. Leading with suction. Let that suction sit to the left side of the mouth. And video scope is going down. I'm in. I verified placement. We're gonna blow up that cuff right there. And we're good. I can pull my King Vision out, pull my suction out, hook up our BVM. We're gonna start breathing. We're gonna watch for moisture in the tube. We're gonna be watching our end tidal on our monitor. And we're gonna verify lung sounds in the chest and the absence of lung sounds in the abdomen. After all that's good to go, we're gonna strap this in place with a tube tamer. And we'll get transporting. Okay. Next, I'm going to go back to the laryngoscope, but with a bougie instead of a stylet. We use the bougie quite a bit here at Essentia. Generally, this works best with a partner in place to help you out, but we'll make it work for today. So, same thing. I have a patient that I decided I either have to intubate or RSI. We have our drugs on board. We would have been pre-oxygenating plenty ahead of time, making sure that O2 is up at 100%. We're going to have our suction ready to go. We have our backup airway in place. Once everything's ready, I'm going to go in for my intubation. I'm again using my Mac 4 on this mannequin. We're going to use our cross finger technique to move the tongue. Come in here, scoot down until we reach the vallecula. And lift that epiglottis out of the way. And then I can take my bougie, find my way down, into the vocal cords. And here's where I would have my partner then slide the ET tube over the bougie while I'm maintaining visualization. We can then slide that ET tube into place around the bougie. And then once it's in place and I'm verifying with the scope, bougie will come out, cuff will be inflated, laryngoscope removed, and then we can once again begin ventilations, and we're going to verify tube placement with moisture in the tube, and looking at the end tidal on the monitor, listening to lung sounds in the chest and absence of lung sounds in the abdomen. Once all that is good, we will strap this down with a tube tamer, and we will be transporting. Last, we are
Miller.
using a Miller. Yes, I've practiced a lot more with a Mac in my intubations, so I figured today I would do one of my intubations with a Miller blade. I'm going to use a Miller 3 on this mannequin, and I'm going to go back to my stylet. To my shirt. Okay. Once again, this patient's either in need of intubation or RSI. We will be pre-oxygenating this patient plenty ahead of time, getting them O2 stats up close to that 100%. We're going to be using both a nasal cannula and a bag for this. If we're RSIing, we'll have an IV in place, and we're going to give our medications and give them several minutes to set in and take full effect. Once we are pre-oxygenated and the patient is fully sedated, and it's time for intubation, I'm going to go through my checklist, make sure I have everything. I got my suction close by, I have my backup airway in place, got my tube and stylet, my laryngoscope, my tube tamer, and my BVM with end tidal. Once I'm ready to go, I'm going to have my partner stand back and stop bagging the patient. I'm going to come in with my Miller 3. Same technique. Cross finger to get the tongue out of the way and the teeth out of the way, and I'm going to go in with the Miller, but I'm going to bury it down deep and then come up from there until I have visualization of the cords lifting the epiglottis out of the way this time. Once I have visualization, I'm going to insert my ET tube. I'll have my partner pull the stylet while I am maintaining visualization. Stylet out, cuff inflated, and then we will continue start bagging this patient while I hold that E2 tube right in place so it's not going anywhere. And we're going to verify tube placement with moisture in the tube, watching our end tidal on the monitor, listening to lung sounds in the chest, and looking for absence of lung sounds in the abdomen. If I have all that, then I'm going to strap my tube down with a tube tamer, and we'll be transporting. All right. Any questions, AJ?
That's all I got.
All right.